Good evening, everyone. My persuasive speech for communications 101. My audience members. So, I know most, if not all of you watching right now, have a younger person in your life who's constantly glued to their device. It's easy to dismiss and overlook the content that they see and how it could affect their developing brains. That's why I believe that parents should heavily restrict the kind of access they have to these devices and especially the internet. In this speech, I'll be talking about the kind of content they might see, as well as how it could affect their physical and mental well-being. Let's start with, before I go on for my reasons why I believe they should restrict access, here are some positive reasons on why people give the internet and devices to their children. In an article called Mass Media Use and Cognitive Development, published by author Kiran Mashawari in the Indian Journal on Wellbeing, they did a test between 320 primary school children split in half, and they did a test between those who only had TV access and those who had internet access. Those who had internet access had a higher mean cognitive score of 69.60, and those who had TV had a mean score of 63.81. They theorized that the higher cognitive score is due to how easy it is to access information on the internet, as well as the kind of activities that are available on these devices, which require a lot of interaction. Some more positives that people say the internet may have is the way that people can connect through social media. These apps like Discord and Instagram can build communities and help people feel less lonely in their lives, as well as destigmatize mental health disorders. Well, those are just some of the positive benefits, but I feel that a lot of the negative effects outweigh the positive ones. Let's start with the kind of content that they'll see. In a study done by Chang Hon Cho, published in the Journal of Broadcasting and Electronic Media, the article named Children's Exposure to Negative Internet Content, Effects of Family Context, published in 2005, states that one of the most serious concerns regarding children's social development involves the proliferation and easy accessibility of negative content, such as pornography, violence, hate speech, gambling, sexual solicitation, and so forth. In the study, it showed that parents underestimated the kind of exposure that these children have on their devices, and that the article suggests that to be more intimate within the family and regulate the use of devices to reduce the risk of children coming across things that they don't want to see, as well as could harm their development. Moving into a more recent study, Zi Gang and Ren Liu wrote The Impacts of Smartphone Addiction and Negative Emotions on Parent-Child Relationships Among Elementary School Students. This was published in the Frontiers in Psychiatry Journal in 2025. In here, they discuss how negative emotions and difficulties in emotional regulation often trigger smartphone use and addiction. And that, well, it discusses how easy it is to get addicted to your cell phones or devices, and that it could go as bad as developing withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, discomfort, irritability, and dependency. In this article, they also mention how excessive digital media involvement leads to task delays like procrastination, which I know a lot of us struggle with, and that smartphone use reduces interaction between peers. Now, more on mental health. This article called Balancing the Benefits and Risk of Social Media on Adolescent Mental Health in the Post-Pandemic World, written by Augustus Osborne in 2025, published in the Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and Mental Health Journal, showed that a lot of children report being cyberbullied, and that UNICEF reported 1 in 3 children experiencing harassment online. This study also showed that there's proof that blue light from these screens can disrupt sleep and their circadian rhythm. And they hypothesized that these tech companies, instead of focusing on mental well-being of their users, prioritize engagement, which leads more to addiction. Now, onto the more physical aspects of internet usage and devices. H. Boskert published in the Pediatric Obesity Journal in 2018, the article titled Internal Use Patterns and Internet Addiction on Children and Adolescents with Obesity. The article showed that children and adolescents with obesity had higher rates of internet addiction compared to those that are not obese. This could be due to excessive computer use, which internet addicts will sit for prolonged time, and which results in a lack of physical exercise. They also attribute it to an irregular diet that most gamers have, such as eating Doritos or chips all day instead of a full nutritious meal. And as well as social isolation, because instead of going out and talking to other students, they will stay at home and play games all day. Those are just some of the negative effects that I believe outweigh the kind of good that internet usage has on children. I believe that children should not be exposed to negative content, and that that kind of content is the most harmful. It is very good to focus on the physical well-being of our children as well, and I believe that the negatives outweigh the positives. So next time you see your children or your child on an iPad, send them to go outside. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. All right, turn it off.